Greetings and welcome to our introduction to Yellowstone Ghost Stories, spooky tales from the world of the first national park, Yellowstone Ghost Stories. This is going to be a forward and introduction, and then after that I'll explain how the series is going to go. Here is the forward introduction. There is something about the human sight that causes us to be fascinated by the idea of ghosts, specters, and wraiths. Even to those of us who profess disbelief in such things, anything supernatural catches our interest, if only for brief moments. As a child, my interest in things supernatural and paranormal was stimulated by the many books of Ray Bradbury, L. Frank Braun, and Edward Eger. And, of course, by the 1950s, EC and ACG comic books like Tales from the Crypt and Adventures into the Unknown. In those wonderful fantasy books, I was introduced to the floating bed sheets, transparent human forms, and other gossamer wraiths that comprise the myriad of the disembodied souls we call ghosts. Later I learned about some of the more classic ghost stories of literature, of which Shakespeare's Hamlet and Macbeth are two of the most famous. Their appearances in 1603 and 1606 make it clear that Elizabethan-era people were fascinated by ghosts, if they did not believe in them outright. I am the father spirit doomed to walk the night, intoned the king from Hamlet, till the foul crimes are burnt and purged away. Throughout history, people in all countries have been fascinated by ghosts, describing or otherwise creating them in poetry, literature, movies, and toys. One of the earliest ghost stories from around 2000 BC is etched on Babylonian clay tablets, tells of hero Gilgamesh and the ghost of his dead friend Enkidu. The Chinese celebrate their Hungry Ghost Festival in the seventh moon to appear ghosts, and Japan has a similar celebration called the Obon Festival. Even the Bible mentions ghosts per Deuteronomy 18 verses 10 through 11, Isaiah chapter 8 verse 19, and Samuel chapter 28, although the good book generally counsels against calling them forth, and the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future are well known of fans of Charles Dickens. There are even ghost ships, the Mary Celeste, the Flying Dutchman, and probably others destined to ply stormy waters, wraith-like for all eternity, carrying their dead crew members and their mysteries. Ghost writers, no pun intended, tend to mention three kinds of ghosts, and to no one's surprise, they all come from religion. Kindly ghosts from heaven, evil ghosts from hell, and the wandering ones with unfinished business, ghosts from purgatory. Why do ghosts lurk? The usual reasons are varied and include unfinished business, lost love, grudges, revenge, and unpaid debts. In this book that I'm going to share with you, author Shelley Larios takes us on a journey into the oldest of national parks, Yellowstone, to find its ghosts. She has tried hard to get the history right so that you can enjoy the stories and draw your own conclusions. Larios is not trying to present the ghosts as facts, but that she does want you to have fun with John Yancey, Ed Wilson, and others in the manner of similar specter seekers. She even tells us outright about the well-documented origin of the headless bride story from Old Faithful Inn. So determined were ghost hunters to find an Old Faithful Inn ghost story that employees made up a story to appease them. In that spirit, this book is meant to be fun. And meanwhile, may things not move about mysteriously in your home or office while you are listening to these stories. This foreword was put together by Lee Whittlesey, an archivist for the Yellowstone National Park. Now, as far as a brief introduction, the thought of ghosts brings to mind unearthly apparitions ascending from dark, misty shadows and grim phantoms who clandestinely float down cold, damp hallways. I've loved ghosts and tales that go bump in the night since childhood. History is brimming with unfinished stories of spirits and specters. In my search of shadows, I have found that Yellowstone is no different. Although I have spent almost 50 years visiting Yellowstone, it has been the last 10 years that I have researched and recorded its spirits. You may ask yourself, are these stories true, and do I believe in ghosts? In most stories, the characters are real and the facts around their lives are referenced in Yellowstone's history books. Like all good legends, however, the ghost part, well, you'll have to go and make your own decisions. Let's just say that ghost stories told around blazing campfires on dark, eerie nights in the woods can be pretty convincing. As far as the author's note, this book was written for pure entertainment and does not claim to be documented reference. Every attempt has been made to give proper credit. However, in the respect of privacy, the author has chosen to use first names of those interviewed. The author further admonishes readers that although most stories are based on facts concerning Yellowstone National Park and the people who lived and worked there, these stories, like most folklore, have been told and retold with the addition of embellishment. So as we get into this series, we will have 20 stories from Yellowstone ghost stories. And just so you do know, starting tomorrow at 8 p.m., the first story will be uploaded. And then we will continue every Thursday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for those that are on the East Coast. So that way, 8 o'clock is a good time, especially when we get through the summer months with night coming earlier. And you can be in a dark room listening or watching and listening and maybe seeing the ghosts in the ghost stories. Hopefully you enjoyed this introduction, and I look forward to sharing with you the Yellowstone ghost stories, spooky tales from the world's first national park. See y'all tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, for episode number 1. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.